This is Jonathan Ferguson, the keeper of firearms and artillery at the Royal Armouries Museum in the UK, which houses a collection of thousands of iconic weapons from throughout history. And I'm your host, Dave Jewett, and today we're covering a whole array of movies, TV shows, games, and beyond, all using clips submitted to us by our patrons. This is a mod that Dr. PhD made themselves. Made it for Ravenfield a few years ago. It was one of my favourite projects as I just kept adding more and more secret reload animations, in the end totaling 11 distinct reloads.
That's very odd. I've never heard of this game. What is that? Is that
That's Gabe Newell?
That might be the memeiest thing I've ever seen in weapon form.
These have been a lot of fun to make, and as I'm also seeing a lot of these clips for the first time during our recording session, they can make for some interesting surprises. Also, we now have merch. You can go to expvideo.info or use the link in the description to check out the merch for yourselves. Be sure to check out our Patreon for more information on how you can submit clips to our growing array of experts. But without further ado, let's get into Community Mixtape Volume 2. As these are all clips submitted by our community through our Patreon, I've not seen a lot of these myself, so we'll be on at least somewhat similar footing here.
Noted. Difficult to know what to expect with these. Wait. Short-ribbed hair-trigger automatic shotgun was that? That's quite the explanation. So this would be a mod gun in the first place, presumably. So I don't think the Auto 5 is in the base game, is it?
That's right, they've added both the Auto 5 and the Inquisitor, which is the radioactive variant, it seems.
Okay. Here is the same early pattern of, the Auto 5, basically, with the sight rib and the cuts compensator. Usually associated with the Thompson submachine gun, but these shotguns did in fact come with a version of the cuts compensator made by Lyman. A semi-auto shotgun as depicted, but not so much with the weird gubbins on it. So what's this doing, sorry?
There've been radioactive weapons in Fallout before. We're in Fallout 4.
Okay.
Before. But the Pig and Degenerate Dak, they made this mod themselves. So I think to keep it within the world of Fallout,
yeah.
you can't just stop at the Auto 5. You've got to make the radioactive Auto 5.
It's fair enough. So the real thing has this sort of textured, shallow sight rib across the top, which then picks up the front part of the sight rib. It's slightly raised, and it's all just a textured rib. But there is a bead at the front of the gun there that you use. You sort of nestle that bead in the sort of sighting rib, and on this it's bright green. Yeah, it's funny. It absolutely does the job from this sort of plain Jane Auto 5, which weirdly I think sort of does still fit Fallout, even though I dare say any actual period Auto 5 still around in the distant Fallout future would not be in great condition. But the modified version is unequivocally Fallouty.
Submitted by Silvertine. This is a weapon that was added into Stalker 2 after we did our episode.
Okay.
So this is an official gun in the game now.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah. Do you know, I was expecting some sort of bubbered Mosin. As soon as I saw it was a Mosin, I thought there's bound to be some modified version. That's relatively low impact, considering what some people have done to Mosin Nagant rifles before. A bit of Picatinny rail and a red dot sight. Yeah, it's practically breathing a sigh of relief at that point. And in all honesty, if you were going to try and use this as a modern combat rifle, that's not an awful thing to do. Just don't do it to historic Mosins, please. I know they made lots of them, but
if you bubble them all, there'll not be many left.
This is how things get valuable and rare, because people throw them away or they modify them. Everyone does it because no one thinks it's important. And suddenly people go, wait a minute, there's only a few of these left. That belongs in a museum.
I'm glad they've added this to Stalker 2. It was a sort of... I mean, it obviously works perfectly, and based on how hefty the mutants are at the very least, I'd hope that this has some stopping power when it comes to those enemies, at least at range.
No, honestly, I still haven't played Stalker 2, or 1 actually, but I would have expected that this was just something that was in the game, to be honest. From the start, I mean, you know. It's such an obvious thing to have. Something with a gameplay niche, but also a historic relevance, geographical relevance. Kind of surprising that it wasn't in there to begin with, really.
Hello, Jonathan and the EXP crew.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm here in my garden to present my submission for the mixtape, a Galvanic Rifle.
Oh.
Oh, wow. That
Wow.
is so sick. Oh, that's a Mechanicus of Mars weapon.
Okay.
Mechanicus weapon.
It's very M14-y. Well, not very. Slightly M14-y.
That's great. That's a really nice print.
Obviously, it takes a lot of inspiration from things like the Garand and pieces like that, with a nice steampunk finish to it.
Yeah, it does feel a bit more Garand than M14, just because of the lack of protruding magazine. But because it has the kind of drum-looking magazine-y thing, I went M14. But
It features a weird bit of Warhammer history, because I think in the Codex it's described as being inspired by the flintlock weapons of Mars. And because it's Warhammer, you don't know if if at some point Mars were using flintlock weapons. I mean, in 40k there are flintlock weapons in like sort of low-tech worlds, or it's like misappropriated history and that the term flintlock has been used in different ways. But obviously like the wood furniture, sort of like the design of it, the artistry of it feels like an old weapon, but as they mentioned, fires like I think it fires like servitor bullets, which is implied to be bullets that can not think, but you can program as well. So it's that nice contrast between very sort of almost antique inspired aesthetics and then even more highly technologically advanced than Space Marine weapons. It's like the cutting edge of what the Imperium of Man, or what the cutting edge of the Mechanicus can even do. Bullets full of brains, shooting radium, but looks like sort of steampunk Garand or M14.
that's making me think, I wonder if there's any truth to what I'm going to say now, which is that, is there an Afghan Jazail trope creeping in here? Where those are primitive weapons compared to what the British Army is bringing to the fight, but they have this sort of semi-mythical reputation for super accuracy, and the guys are hiding on sort of ridges and sniping effectively with these potentially very accurate rifles, but look very antiquated. If the Imperium of Man is like the British Empire, then the Martians, I guess, are the local tribesmen with their Jazails. Is there something to that? This is where we sort of get the Sand People from in Star Wars, I think.
It's funny you mentioned Jazail because there is a weapon called a Radium Jazail, which are used by Skitarii Dragoons. Instead of horses, they're these like bipedal, almost like weird walker things. So they're still using the term Jazail for a weapon. Like,
interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of 40k where it's like pieces of old history that they've either misunderstood or like all the different words have become combined over 40,000 years of history but are still harking back to that.
Well, we've already seen, you mentioned the word flintlock, maybe taking on different meaning in the future. It's perfectly possible because we already have quite a few people will look at a percussion weapon and call that flintlock because it's it all goes down the front and it's a flintlock, even though there's visibly no flint on the thing. So we're already at the point where people are starting to not know what a flintlock is and apply it to something else. So that's perfectly plausible as well.
Fantastic prop though, I loved that.
Well, that's really well done. Yeah.
Now I want one.
Well, if you ask nicely.
Excuse me, I have a Discord message to send.
Hey, it's a Johnson. Insert joke here.
I recognise the name from last episode. Do you remember the Zip ship gun from last episode?
Yes.
That was their creation, so I'm bracing myself now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get around to covering the Johnson on the Armory's channel at some point. Rifle and machine gun. It's a very interesting, very cool rifle, and there's some British trial stuff I can look up on it as well. Loads, as you see there, into a sort of rotary mag with chargers, with clips. He's chucking that in the bin, though. That's worrying me. Oh, there we go. That's why. Because there's the ruined version, inevitably.
I think they call it Modernised, but that's fair.
No, it's ruined. That's an Alan Partridge quote, I think. It's ruined.
Is that when Orange Juice fills his buckets full of Bond VHS?
I think so.
Yeah, they're ruined.
One of our deeper cuts?
It's so deep I didn't even know what I was saying. Just remember the turn of phrase. Yeah, this is A for effort, but does disturb me slightly. But then I suspect that's the point. I think the worst thing about it are the rail covers covering rails that can't possibly do anything.
I was about to say, for some reason, the rail covers are the bit that's making me wince most.
Yeah. Just think this could be the M1941 A27.
I tell you what, though, there's some thought here. Bear with me. With some of this customization or inspired customization, the Johnson wouldn't clash as a Star Wars gun.
No, well, yes it would, and for one important reason. Picatinny bloody rails.
No, not this one, but compare it to the Space AK.
Okay.
But you use it as the base of a Star Wars gun. You might be on something.
No, absolutely. But don't, because they're relatively rare, so please don't go butchering them for Star Wars. No, I thought you meant as in it would have to have some... It'd have to be festooned with some nonsense in order to pass in Star Wars, and the only thing stopping this from being that is all those Picatinny rails, because why would space guns have Picatinny rails in the distant past in a different galaxy? Which is why I don't like the E11 variant from Rogue One, because it has bloody Picatinny rails on it. Because it either has Picatinny rails or it has just a flashlight attached to the side for reasons. Anyway, suffice to say, my failing memory aside, yeah, not a big fan of Picatinny rails where they don't feel right, and this thing has just so many of them.
I just realised they're putting stripper clips in for to expedite their reload later.
Oh, as in inserting them in and they're hanging out the side?
Yeah, so when it comes to reload, they can just wham.
Yeah.
Send them in.
That must be a behaviour that they've learned from playing the actual game, because that's not how stripper clips work. They will naturally fall out if you do that. I haven't tried it with a Johnson, but I don't think there's anything that would hold it in place in the way that we're seeing there. I do like this side-by-side comparison of just how ruined the gun is, like with that afterthought pistol grip added onto the semi-pistol grip of the start. That's horrifying. The Magpul angled foregrip, the too many scopes. He's really giving us some beauty shots of this thing.
Yeah.
And there's a big square suppressor on the end as well, I think. I glossed over that. The sublime, the ridiculous.
Will the round stay in the body without going all the way through and hitting someone else?
Guaranteed.
Then you're so sure why?
Oh god, it's been a long time since I've thought about this TV show.
What's this? The shield?
The Unit.
The unit, sorry. I meant the unit. I said the shield. Yes, I did watch this.
So Harold submitted this. The notes say because they're discussing Mercury Bullets, which has come before.
I filled the central cavity of the bullet half full with mercury. So when the round is fired, the mercury sets to the rear of the bullet. Then on impact, it slams to the front, where it meets the nose of the bullet as it comes crashing to the rear.
So all that energy, like a ton and a half, gets dumped in the target on impact.
Whoa, say that again.
So all that energy, like a ton and a half, gets dumped in the target on impact.
All that energy, a ton and a half. A ton and a half of energy? Energy is not measured in tons. Is that metaphorical? Let's continue.
Then on impact, it slams to the front, where it meets the nose of the bullet as it comes crashing to the rear.
The mercury crashes into the nose of the bullet. What are they talking about? Right. Normally, mercury bullets are about poisoning the target, which is sort of dubious as well, but that's the usual way in which mercury appears. Like heavy metal poisoning, but also terminal ballistics of a bullet.
This is a normal issue round. Should give you through and through penetration. The jug on the left, if you please.
Does he need those binoculars?
What?
He was like 30 feet away.
I'm sure I watched all of this show and I do not remember this. Oh no, wait, I think I only saw season 1. How many seasons did this thing get?
This is from season 3.
Yeah, okay.
When the subjects of Mercury Bullets came up in the last community episode, my mind instantly went to this episode as one of my favourite cheesy TV shows, The Unit, where they use mercury rounds to try and stop a full penetration while using snipers. So they're trying to underpower their their cartridge?
This is absolute flipping nonsense. Like, for what? Yes, as you say, why does he need binoculars for a target that's like 20 meters away or whatever it is? It might be further than that, but that's what it looks like. They're shooting through jugs of liquid onto a cardboard backstop, which isn't a backstop, it's a target frame. Backstop would be the thing that stops the bullet at the back, hence the name.
Also, the cardboard has been shot from the other side.
Yes, it has.
I mean, it's all been shot from the other side.
It's blown out towards us.
Also, if they're trying to dump energy so it doesn't overpenetrate, you're sort of throwing off your science by doing it from 20 yards away.
Yeah. He's having a flashback. Bob, we've got nonsense to do. Get on with it. Stop reminiscing. Yeah, so I guess the first shot is purely to show you what bullets do, i.e. go through a jug of liquid and straight through the cardboard. So they're using the cardboard deliberately as something that's easily penetrated by bullets or bullet fragments to show you just how amazing this Mercury bullet is at not over-penetrating. There is absolutely no way. Like, the explanation defies logic and physics, as far as I can tell. Let's say for a moment that a small jug of water is in any way an analogue for the human body, which it isn't, by the way. Why aren't they using ballistic gel at least? Then you need something that is going to fragment early on in the wound track, and therefore the bits do damage, but they probably stay in the body. Or like a frangible round where there's going to be a nasty wound of entry, but not really an exit wound because metal powder essentially is being dispersed into the wound. But as you say, that's got to be at the distance you're planning to shoot at, roughly, or at least you'd have to do a lot more testing than just redneck science level. What are they doing? That's so strange. Like, if they just said, this bullet is, a copper jacket containing liquid mercury, and which means that when it has enough energy to create a serious wound, but it immediately disperses, doesn't have the solidity, the sectional density, the energy to penetrate out the other side. Yes, that would make sense. This stuff about there being a hard nose and the mercury slams into it and it creates a load of energy, but somehow that prevents it over penetrating. That feels like it's been... Someone had an idea that made some sense and then it got rewritten into something that made no sense. Oh, it does always make me uncomfortable, that weird wrist angle that you get in. Not just Arma 3, wrist. A lot of games. But Arma 3 might be the worst for, like Raptor wrist.
Yeah, an ounce of recoil and those wrist bones are getting crunched.
Oh, this is heavy. Here is our HK21 A1 with its belt box and all. This looks good to me. Yeah, iron sights look good. I'm not sure about there's a ring around the aperture that I think is just meant to be wear. There might be a little bit of excess of wear on the iron sights there, or it might be modelled from one that's been through the ringer a little bit. Don't know if I can make a direct comparison with ours actually, because this is an A1. We do have a non-A1. So if anyone, if you needed us to do a detailed comparison, we could do that. But
yeah, this is from the Global Mobilization DLC. So all 1980s vintage firearms or weapons used within the Cold War. Inserting the belt is quite fudged because it sort of just appears, but there's the nice detail of them pulling it through the other side of the weapon.
Yeah, I mean, as we know, there are limitations often to what you can do.
Yeah, I think those limitations are definitely front and center because this is a creator DLC, so I'm not sure what level of tools that they have access to. But it's quite extensive. They're like the uniforms, the vehicles, the weapons that are in that DLC. It's a good one to have because Arma 3, the base game, isn't super historically accurate. So when you want a more historically focused skirmish, things like Spearhead, SOG Prairie Fire, Global Mobilization, I'd love all of those DLCs because it goes back to the sort of authentic weapons and settings.
Slightly odd looking EM-2. Not sure what's going on with the pistol grip.
So this is a modifiable version of the EM-2. H3VR has an EM-2. There's a mod version that makes it modifiable.
Okay, I'm just trying to think where it's got hang on. That pistol grip, is that not on like a Call of Duty version of the EM-2 or something?
Oh,
I'm
yes.
sure I've seen it somewhere.
I think you're right. So this looks similar to the Black Ops Cold War EM-2. Has that
Yes,
bow.
that's right. Yeah, the knuckle bow, which looks like the Arctic trigger on the real EM-2, but isn't. And then that weird shaped checkered pistol grip.
I'm sure their modifications will be very reasonable.
Oh my.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. I will say, when I was writing my Bullpups book, there was a suggestion that we ask a well-known firearms company, who were up for the idea but weren't able to help in the end, to conceptualize a modernised EM-2, not a million miles away from this, as in polymer furniture, rail attachment systems, that kind of thing. And that was never done, so I haven't seen. This is the first one I've seen that tries to fully modernise, like the double take almost between the two.
This is like the EM-2 if it existed in the Expanse universe.
Someone else throwing the more reasonable one in the bin and choosing the modern one. Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that absolutely makes me twitch is the F2000 sight cover, because that's really doing nothing other than making it look more sci-fi. Without that, that's a good effort at modernising EM-2. Now, in reality, EM-2 comes into service. Well, when would it have come into service? Probably not until 1955 or thereabouts. That was one of the reasons they went with the FN design, because they could make 5,000 troop trials rifles in relatively short order, whereas Enfield had no chance. So that was part of the decision to bin the EM-2, like we saw there, and go with what became the L1A1. So if it's in service let's say it's in service 55, well, I mean, let's be honest, the SLR didn't last beyond the Gulf War, did it? So it's not going to last into the era of... It lasts into the era of polymers, and in fact, the EM-2 was already slated. They did a study on a polymer furniture set for it in the early 50s, so they were always probably going to go to polymer at some point. So let's say late 60s, early 70s, it goes to the black nylon polymer that's on the SLR. That already makes it look pretty different. They could have changed out the optic to something different. A couple of different magnified optics for the SLR that appear later. What we're not going to see is Picatinny rails and suppressors and things like that, because realistically, this thing wouldn't even have lasted as long as the SLR did. It's more complex, less robust, more expensive. It would have been pensioned off sometime in the 80s, I would have thought. Anyway, actually a good effort. The only thing that tips it over into Trollsville, I think, is the F2000 reference. What the heck?
So this is submitted by TheWalrusQueen, and they said, introducing a submachine gun only a mother could love, the Andrews Machine Carbine. When I stumbled upon this modded horror, mods creator named Volks, for H3VR, I immediately knew it had to be real because of how weird and ergonomically terrible it is. They said it was submitted for British trials in 1943. It's very clear why it didn't stand out to the competition. I've included a brief showcase of it at the range as well as in combat.
Yeah, I'll be honest, my first thought was that looks wacky enough to be a real design. Then when you said it was British, I thought, I have never seen that before in my life. Not that I can remember. We definitely don't have one here. So every now and again, I do learn something completely new. I have to go away and look this thing up. What we may have, potentially, is some reference to or drawings of it. Guessing it was a private man-in-shed development. Could it perhaps be Commonwealth rather than British, I wonder? Quite a few wacky SMGs come out of Australia. So the first I'm seeing of this is its virtual version. I totally agree about only a mother loving it.
Apparently it was designed by an Australian engineer who sent the blueprints to BSA, who constructed a small batch of prototypes. I've never heard of this thing before.
No, I got it right with Australia though, didn't I?
You did.
I will have to ask BSA if they still have any information on this. I do, of course, H3VR being what it is, We're seeing a lot of recoil from this thing not having a buttstock. That half pistol grip is quite painful to look at. The trigger mechanism being on the side is again, awful in principle. I'm not clear on how the magazine is locking in place, because it doesn't seem to have a mag well. And the bit what holds the Sten mag in place is visibly further down than that. So I think there may have been some fudging. Maybe I'm guessing there's a photo or something of this that does exist, and it's not shown with a mag, and maybe someone has assumed that, well, you just jam a Sten mag in there, but there's no way that's being held in place.
I'm sure it won't surprise you to learn that there's a Forgotten Weapons article on this from 2014.
It shouldn't, no.
What a weird thing.
Very, very strange. It doesn't even remind me of anything else, like fictional or otherwise. It's a box. I know who will know this thing, and that's Freddie Clifford. Hello, Freddie, if you're watching. I'm sure, possibly Matt Moss as well. They may well have come across this thing. I was thinking that was a sling swivel on the back, not a bloody ring pull. Every now and again in history, someone comes up with the idea of some sort of ring pull cocking system.
Well, the article says it's equipped with a sling or lanyard loop on the back of the receiver.
Ah, so is this another assumption as to how it's supposed to work then? Because it can't be both.
Apparently, according to the article, the only pictures that they have are from a Dutch gun magazine. So it's made by an Australian, sent to BSA, seemingly extremely unknown, sourced from an old Dutch gun magazine.
What did you say it was called again?
The Andrews Machine Carbine.
Right. Well, I mean, I've never heard of it, but without blowing my trumpet, if anyone can find out more on this, it would be us. So, oh my word, it looks even worse in the photo. Holy cow. God bless Australia and its wacky firearms designs.
With all the peace and love and respect in the world, if there's one thing I didn't expect from recording this episode, was to learn something.
I know. It does happen occasionally. So I'm looking here at, it says Robinson Modular Rifle. Is this a reference to the Robinson XCR then?
So the notes that they sent over, this is the Robinson Armament XCR from the game Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. The reason I picked this is mainly because the character that wields it is very popular. The rifle itself is pretty unique.
Yeah, so I was a little thrown because it didn't look like how I remember the XCR, but it has been through a few different permutations since it first appeared. We don't have one. I have met Alex Robinson. He's visited the collection before. It was a candidate for the American SCAR program at one time. It's somewhat popular in the civilian world. People have been trying to get us to look at Girls Frontline in one form or another for literally years.
They've managed to sneak it in.
I did not expect the Robinson XCR to be the gun.
I know that the game has some extremely obscure firearms.
So she's got spare magazines on robot arms.
I kind of dig that idea. Well, it's sort of not a million miles away from Tomb Raider's belt.
Exactly what I thought of and was going to mention, yeah. I mean, it's substantially more silly than that, I would say. In that they're just kind of flapping around. But, well, I hope you're happy with yourselves. You finally got me to talk about Girls Frontline. Happy?
No, they won't be. They'll want more. They'll want more.
They will. And thanks to you, now.
Only for added fuel to the fire.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Sneaked it in there. I was not prepared for it. Steam sail launcher.
Are you familiar with Steam sales?
I am very familiar. It's the only way I buy any games. Okay.
Oh, so this is a mod that Dr. PhD made themselves.
Right.
Made it for Ravenfield a few years ago. It was one of my favourite projects as I just kept adding more and more secret reload animations, in the end totaling 11 distinct reloads.
What?
I've only included the Beast reload in this one.
That's very odd. I've never heard of this game.
They're reloading it with a Steam award.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're reloading it with the game A Plague Tale Innocence, which, yeah, would have been going on sale quite a lot at that period of time.
Is that Gabe
That's Gabe Newell. Gaben jump scare at the end there.
That's very strange. That might be the memeiest thing I've ever seen in weapon form.
That's very good.
That looks like the HK SMG2 to me. But different. 8mm compact. What is this game?
Signalis. The game is top down usually. I think they've used a mod, like a camera mod or a gameplay mod, to get a bit close up with it.
Okay. When did this... What vintage is this video game?
Signalis came out 2022.
Ah, okay.
So it's vintage by design.
Yes. Early 3D style. Although that's very much mitigated if it's top down, normally. Yeah, I mean, within the medium of like 3D pixel art, which is essentially what this is, that's a good... Oh, those are actually quite scary.
So I think this is the default sort of camera position where it's up high.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I can see the vibe they're going for. Like a Resident Evil, Quake, System Shock kind of...
I was intrigued, but now I feel like this might be too spooky for me.
Yeah. I was having the same roller coaster there.
It's like, all cool guns, cool aesthetic. Oh, weird shadow people coming at me. No, thank you.
Yeah, especially in third person.
I love that the fire control markings are just a single pixel. That's all there's room for.
Yes, but then that's the sort of genius, really, is that what you can suggest with just a few pixels, which back in the day is all they had to do, and now people are choosing to sort of limit things. I think the recoil's maybe a bit excessive for what in reality should be a 9mm Parabellum submachine gun. Rate of fire's quite low as well, but I think the that historic prototype does match the vibe quite well.
I remember this game from so long ago.
I don't remember it, but I feel literally called out here.
This was a very, very bizarre game. It was like taking the idea of modular weapons and dialing it up to 11 and somehow being even more silly with it.
They're clearly using a cheat because they've got unlimited resources and money in the corner there.
I think they'd have to, so this game, last I heard, wasn't even online anymore.
I'm not sure I like the way that reads. 9 out of 10 moms recommend Jonathan Ferguson's Pain. Sounds like a scandal.
I didn't even see that. I think one of the first videos I ever put on YouTube, which is now long gone, was covering this game. I'm firing a spooled up lightning beam weapon, and it's over the top and it's wicked. Don't you show your buttocks to me, madam!
Oh, really?
That was when I was like a solo YouTuber, so like 15 years ago.
When you were in short shorts.
I remember the game having jiggle physics when your characters didn't have trousers on.
Lovely. A barrel type of tube is amusing. I've never heard of this.
I think it was free to play. Came out 2014.
I feel like I'm coming in at the top floor of this one. Yeah, I don't know what the actual gameplay looks like, but I could almost see a sort of Worm-style combat game having this sort of weapon design aspect to it. Oh, okay. It's like almost Team Fortressy kind of. Team Fortress / Borderlands.
They did say they've used the needle effect to showcase the healing warheads.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see the jiggle effect. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, even the base weapon was so out there that it's maybe not as painful as it could be.
Oh, charming.
It did.
I forgot about that.
What happened there?
Characters flip you off when they die.
Oh, that one just grabbed their crotch at you as well. Yeah. Oh, there's gore effects as well. What a strange game.
Yeah, the developer no longer exists. God, that was a weird nostalgia trip back to 2014 that I didn't expect.
The heady days of 10 years ago.
Oh, God.
What on earth is this?
They said this is Gale Online, a spin-off from Sword Art Online, but more gunny, and is apparently one of those animes that feature like weirdly quote-unquote realistic firearms.
So we've got a PP19 Bison and a pink P90.
I think I've used that P90 in Call of Duty.
And the Bison's got a suppressor on it, I think. So the bullets can chip chunks off rock, but leave digital marks on people.
From what I understand about Sword Art Online, at least, I've not heard of Gun Gale, but they're in like a virtual world.
Yeah, I surmised as much. So there's an SVDM by the look of it there, which looks positively normal compared to the pink P90. Curious. Oh, cool. There's a modernised version of the Alien Rexim Favor SMG based laser pistol.
I remember us talking about Aliens Fireteam Elite a long time ago.
I haven't played it for a long time. Definitely had some fun with it. Keep your eyes peeled on the Royal Armoury's YouTube channel in the next few weeks, put it that way.
I always do, Jonathan.
Might even have come out by the time we see this one, I'm not sure. I think, and this was a criticism I had of Fireteam Elite in general with its weapons, is that the weapons are a bit too abstracted from their source. Oh, and this is like a Chris Vector. So art is imitating art, because we now have a Chris Vector pulse rifle in Alien Earth as well, which I'm sure has nothing to do with this. But yeah, I think I could recognise that it was meant to be based on the laser pistol from the first Alien movie, but I think it's too different, really. This thing...
So they said when Autumn submitted this, they said this was their loadout. 4C2 Astra is one of the new designs from the game from the manufacturer AlphaTech. Thought it was a cool design. The burst fire mode is a little odd since it actually fires continually as you hold down the trigger. So it's automatic, but in chunks of 3.
Yeah.
It's not really burst if it continues to burst after you keep the trigger held down.
Well, I guess the end result is, in theory, the same, but I haven't heard of anyone doing that. Because, yeah, the idea is you remove the thought. You remove the need for a brain from the process, and you just hold trigger till gun stops, then let go and pull it again. It doesn't really work as well if it just carries on firing. Biggest problem for me with any Alien game is I don't want to use anything that isn't from the movies. So I would probably not use that loadout, but it's fine. And yeah, weirdly enough, it turns out there's a Vector in the past that looks more like a pulse rifle because we have different Alien creators not talking to each other, which has always been the case with games versus movies and everything else. But now we have the TV series almost off in its own little universe. Right, anime girl shooting again.
So the notes that we got for this anime can sort of be summarised as anime John Wick at home.
Okay.
Apparently the protagonist uses non-lethal ammunition, which is more inaccurate, so focuses on dodging instead.
Guess my main question there would be why.
I don't know, but I'm sort of vibing with the soundtrack. Did she just take out the guy with a ballistic door?
Yeah, effectively. Yes, how is it not hitting her? That's interesting. Do we know how these non-lethal bullets work?
So the notes that were sent over said that they were rubber bullets.
Okay. Like some sort of simunitions or something, you could do that. I don't know why you would, and you'd probably just get shot. Because people have different pain thresholds and a lot of motivation to not die or get captured or whatever, so not recommended.
There is quite an extensive IMFDB page on it. I mean,
is there?
There are so many gun-focused animes out there now. It's interesting seeing so many back-to-back and like out of context, because the thing that just comes back into my brain is how faithfully they like to illustrate them. The Japanese fascination of firearms making its way into anime. But that's been a thing for years now, so it doesn't surprise me that there's been a few that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
It's reminding me that I need to watch more anime. I've just finished One Punch Man, didn't have any guns in, but you know, the space is now opened up.
Well, we definitely have the center axis relock thing going on, so I can see why they referenced John Wick there.
And I think the gun has a standoff device on it because there's so much close quarters stuff going on.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to what sort of pistols they were using, actually. So I failed at my job.
Apparently, it's a Detonics Combat Master.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I was distracted by the strange fighting and lack of wounds and general anime-ness of the whole thing. Hold my hands up there. I was not in an analytical mode there. Obviously, the AKs were a little funky looking, I will say. So the fidelity was not quite there for me on what I was paying attention to.
So this is Dead by Daylight. I know a little about the game. I don't know if you've heard of it before.
I have heard of it, yep.
So this is one of the killers.
It's the original sort of asymmetric survival co-op, isn't it? I think the only one of which I've actually played is Predator Hunting Grounds.
I think it's the only one with something firearms adjacent. Using a blank to shoot a chain to blind people in, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it's we have a number of different harpoon guns in the collection that are not too far off what this does, but they don't do it with chains. They do it with ropes. Okay, so he's got like a bayonet thing on it as well as the harpoon that he can launch. I guess it's a little bit like the Greener Martini harpoon gun, only much more industrial looking and with the big crank handle to reel it back in with. It is, interesting how that kind of stereotypical horror movie slasher killer. I mean, job's in the name, isn't it? Slasher. They very rarely use firearms, so something that is essentially an edged weapon launcher sort of makes more sense. Especially got the No Country for Old Men dude with his suppressed shotgun thing, and the bolt gun, which is a bit like a gun, sort of. But typically, unlike in real life, there isn't a huge amount of cinematic murder done with firearms. Well, there is, but not in that sort of milieu, if I can use that word.
I think edged weapons or blunt weapons are sort of just things that require the slasher killer to be that close.
Yeah.
Just play with the horror genre a bit better.
Otherwise, you're just a hitman. This is also new to me.
It's been a long time since I've seen Unreal Tournament. Well, Unreal Tournament 3 in this case.
Yeah, I played the first 2 games quite a bit.
Apparently the Enforcer is the default weapon that you spawn with, an all-time classic weapon that can trace its lineage back to 1998 with the original Unreal game.
Okay, I'm struggling to remember what the pistol looked like in the original.
The weapon's description in-game is pretty strange and will likely give Jonathan some kind of mental anguish. I think we missed that, so...
Yes, I did not see a description.
For decades, the Enforcer pistol was the combat sidearm of choice. Veteran soldiers appreciated the lightweight handgun's power, accuracy, and balance. Side-fed magazines provide greater capacity while balancing the shooter's aim when wielding 2 pistols. With a deadly accurate semi-automatic mode and a selectable burst fire mode, the Enforcer is back, and the modern battlefield will never be the same.
Little bit of word salad there, isn't there? The side magazine giving you more capacity? No. Certainly not as depicted. That could easily be on the bottom of the gun and not stick out any further than that. The original reason for a side-mounted magazine is really so that you can shoot from the prone position more easily and have a moderate to high capacity. I think this design is a bit busy for me, I think. There's a bit too much going on without any real obvious need for it to. But it certainly looks futuristic. I must admit, in the preview, I thought it was some sort of, at least like a submachine gun or something, or something bigger than it is.
Well, the note about dual wielding and that the side magazine providing balance to the shooter's aim while wielding dual pistols, I looked up some of the dual wielding gameplay, and I don't know if the writing has allowed them to just flip the model, so because both magazines are pointing towards the center of the screen.
I knew they would be. As soon as I heard that about the magazine on the side for dual wielding, I thought there's no way they haven't mirrored it for that. I'm annoyed I didn't say that now before you... but as soon as I pictured it, I went, well, yeah, it's going to have to look like opposing guns. I mean, balance? I don't... Like a magazine on the side, famously, and this is actually over-egged, I think, but people will criticise that for unbalancing a weapon, as opposed to one hanging off the bottom or even one sitting on top. I think that's over-exaggerated, but at the same time, that balance is not why you put a magazine on the side. But at the end of the day, it's a science fiction game. The carry handle sight rail thing is also a little questionable, I think. Like, it's too small to be a carrying handle, and the gun's too small to need one. So is it just a riser for iron sights? Again, it has iron sights on it. Not sure why you would have iron sights on this thing when you could just have a futuristic red dot.
Singularity is a game I have not thought about in a long time.
I actually got that on sale and have yet to play it.
Well, see if this encourages you or discourages you.
I think I was intrigued by the time manipulation aspect.
Dan Loeb said that they included some of the views of the game's 3D models, but unfortunately loading the full res textures crashed the viewer every time. Classic 3D modeling software. I didn't realise, though, that this was the last game Raven Software did before becoming a Call of Duty support studio.
Right. Yeah. I think that's one of the things that can convince me to buy the game, actually. Because they did Heretic. They certainly did Hexen back in the day.
Hexen, Heretic, Hexen. Yeah, so Heretic, Hexen Beyond Heretic, Hexen 2, and Soldier of Fortune, we've talked about before, and Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, which I loved back in the day. That was a great game.
Me too. I still need to go back and finish the sequel, which I did start playing, but many years later. This confuses me with it says 100-round clip, which obviously makes me sad, and then it has this tiny little reloady thing that goes on top of the gun that isn't the ammunition. Is that supposed to be a battery? I don't know what's going on with the brass looking ring thing around it, but there's like a belt of ammunition. Oh no, that is no, wait.
So that's the ammunition being fed from the top.
Oh, well that's far too small for a 100-round magazine, or clip as they call it. There's something else spinning. Oh, is that just a belt that's spinning around it?
I think that's I don't think that's a
That's sorry, not a belt.
Like rotating...
A drive belt, like a chain.
Yeah, so I guess the rounds are exceptionally small. It's like the Mass Effect bit of sci-fi writing that says the rounds are so small, basically, you never need to reload.
So there's some sort of drum thing that spins at the back. There's some other chain type thing that spins the other way around, about halfway down, but the actual magazine is a tiny, tiny magazine of tiny bullets. It doesn't really make any sense at all. Feels a little bit over-designed, I have to say. I'm sure it's satisfying to use, but as a Gatling gun designer, I'm not sure it's my favourite.
So ICEA have submitted the F55 LMG from Star Citizen, one of the more interesting firearms in the game, as it's a combination of LMG and minigun, fires 5mm bullets, and has a magazine capacity of 150 rounds. Strong recoil, not advised to use it at a greater distance more than 30 meters.
It does combine both sci-fi tropes of a redundant knucklebow trigger guard and a thumbhole stock. That's how you know it's really futuristic. Oh, I see. Okay. So it's like a rifle format minigun. It's a pretty design. It's maybe a bit over, like that flick out arm reloading thing is like, reminds me of the Gears of War Lancer with that weird kind of flappy thing that flips up and sort of slaps the mag in or holds it in or something, but feels a bit redundant. This is similar to that.
According to the Star Citizen wiki, the mass of this thing is 10 kilograms.
Okay.
That's some lightweight future materials.
10 kilos is a lot. I mean, admittedly, it has multiple barrels and presumably breeches, which would make it heavy. But yeah, should we not be making things lighter by this point? It does look bulky and heavy. Like if you made this in the present day, it absolutely would weigh something like that, I'm sure. But I would hope things are a bit lighter.
Well, because of the size of it and the number of barrels, it was actually lighter than I anticipated it being.
Yeah, I mean, when you think that this would have to functionally weigh the same as a minigun, yes, it is lighter. But given how slim it is and how wieldy it apparently is, yeah, interesting. You can argue that one either way, I think. And I'm not really sure how telling you how much it weighs helps anything.
I think because it's Star Citizen's like a massive RPG, it probably has some effect on your
fair enough.
capacity.
Yeah, so I suppose 10 kilos, I've just had to check that, is 22 pounds. That's sort of standard 20th century LMG weight. So yeah, much lighter than it ought to be given the number of barrels. I guess I'm just thinking that in a sci-fi future, you wouldn't have anything that would weigh that much. But I mean, again, if you, as you say, RPG, so trade-off in terms of encumbrance, firepower, and certainly the idea of a multi-barrel weapon that's actually viable to fire from the shoulder is a very science fiction idea.
So remember the Thompson that was converted from an MP5 in Black Ops 6 previously? The original base model of this, which, I mean, I don't think there's any of it that you can still see, was the Black Ops 6 Model L. But I think they've really just done away with that base model and just imported an STG that you can customize.
Oh, well, that's confusing.
It's getting more confusing.
I mean, even the STG bits are I'm sure we covered this before, but all the proportions are wrong for the real thing anyway. Like, I don't think anyone's going to sue Activision over the design of the STG-44. I could be wrong. Oh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's an unhappy looking thing.
There's not a lot of STG left in that, is there?
There isn't. Although I only learned recently, I'd assumed it was a Photoshop, but there was a folding stock STG design. I don't know if any real ones exist, but it was certainly designed and intended for use by paratroopers. It's because the image that's out there is a Photoshop, so I just assumed that someone had made it up, but it's based on a real concept. But this is not, needless to say, especially not the underbarrel crossbow. This is fairly heinous, I have to say.
Fairly is quite kind.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's awful. Thanks. Oh, a Discworld gun. That's cool. Like a harmonica. Yeah, weirdly, it looks like the gun is supposed to be reloadable chambers, like a Treebee or something, but it has centerfire cartridges with extremely long bullets behind it.
The description they sent was, this is a scan of the back cover illustration of the 1993 Discord novel Men at Arms, which depicts the Gon from the story. It is the first and only handheld firearm in the Discworld, at least from when the story was set, and its existence is known by very few people. Prior to the book, it was ordered to be destroyed, but was instead kept by the Assassin Guild Museum, where it's stolen from the start of the book. The illustration is inconsistent with the description of the gun, with one important detail. The illustration shows a set of cartridges, but the scenes where someone reloads the gun describes it as a breech-loaded firearm with charges in paper jackets. I mean, I'm guessing it also doesn't explain the weird dragon or lobster creature coming out of the muzzle. But
that looks like a dragon that's climbed into the barrel. Yeah, odd. Yeah, that's pretty confusing. So, I mean, cartridges are for breech loading, so that's not inconsistent. But obviously, if it describes paper cartridges, then it is. And those holes on top of the chambers aren't going to help you ignite those cartridges behind. So you could just assume that they're for a different gun, but obviously they're intended to be for this gun. Vaguely percussion-looking hammer. It looks like they've looked at some real gun designs, insofar as that front sight muzzle setup is very, very reminiscent of some early 16th century arquebuses and things, but they've not paid too much attention to it and have gone their own way. Yeah, interesting. I didn't know there were any guns in Discworld. I'm only very, very vaguely familiar with it. I think I've only read one Discworld book.
I've read a couple. I suppose in a world where luggage can walk around and the planet is on top of 4 horses on top of a turtle, this is what I'd expect guns to look like.
Yeah, I like the cute mice, and I'm guessing that is a dragon that's kind of facing the wrong way. I don't know. Feels like it's facing the wrong way anyway. Investigating. Don't know. I guess it's got cobwebs on it, so it looks like there are animals kind of intrigued by what this thing is that no one's used for a long time, I think is what they're going for. Oh, good grief.
So, Wargate director, who got an entry last episode as well, submitting the whole weapon family, all variants of the same base gun, the K5PM, C5PM, C36PM, and C5GM.
Stop it.
First one I'd like to show is the K5PM, which was essentially born out of a simple joke of you wouldn't bulb up an MP5.
Yes, I can see that. I see it. It has the lower receiver of an HK94. Oh god, there's a gold and wood furniture one. There's a G36 looking one. This is very far down its own rabbit hole.
Yeah, they said the G36 was directed towards me, so I feel as I'm under attack now as well.
Yeah. No, it's
I appreciate the EXP Arms Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's very literally on brand, but yeah, there's a bullpup pistol version there as well, which is a little bit horrifying. I don't think that one can work, mechanically speaking. And I'm not sure. Yeah, none of them have enough room in the receiver to actually feed around, but I realise that's not the point. They're weaponized by existing. Please stop sending me these things. No, not really. Definitely unexpected compared to the the normal format where I have some idea of what I'm going to be presented with. These are very much off the wall, left field, and sometimes targeted at me directly. So thanks.
It's sort of nice to get to very, very briefly just put a toe into your shoes in this as well. Because obviously I record
well, this is the
bulk
trouble.
of the gameplay for most episodes, not all of them. Being surprised by stuff. It's a lot of fun, and got a creative community from the random things that they've submitted to the stuff they've made. I am going to need a Galvanic Rifle now.
Yeah, even the stuff that I've criticised is creative. Or, if it wasn't created by them, something I hadn't seen before. Honestly, I don't think I've seen any of this before, so well done.
Thank you all for watching. These community episodes have been an absolute blast to make, and we're only able to do them with the support of our lovely patrons. So if you want to join the Patreon, submit something yourself, or just get involved, then be sure to check out the links in the description below. Thank you again for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed, subscribe for more, and we will see you next time.